Currently playing the waiting game. Game on.
Find your mouthpiece and put on your jock straps. It's the Sports Blitz with Doug and Robbie.
Okay, how long is your show?
You guys have such a great setup.
Hey, listen, if you're under a rock or if you're in a cave, come on out and listen to our episode.
It was fun talking baseball. I love talking Red Sox. I love talking coaching.
I don't care because I would rather there not be an MLB season than have to sit and watch the colossal embarrassment.
Hey, hello, I am Bloom. Yeah, it's Doug and Robbie from the Sports Blitz. I just wanted to find out whether you need some pitching.
There you go. In 5, 4, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Sports Blitz. I'm Doug. As you can see down below, I'm Doug. We have Robbie here. Robbie, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, doing well, Doug. All things considered, just life, man. Hashtag true life. I don't know. I'm hanging in there. Glad to be back for another riveting episode of the Sports Blitz here. And hey, for those of you out there, if you are under that rock or in that cave, come on out, give us a watch and a listen here, and you might want to go back in. It might be safer to go back in right now, but at least give us a view, and then you can head on back into that cave or rock or wherever you've come out of.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, they should definitely come out and watch the Sports Blitz. That's the first thing. The second thing they should do is come out and watch NFL football. That's what we're going to talk about tonight a little bit. First of all, it is Thursday, and we actually have.
I didn't know what day it was. Okay.
We typically record on Thursdays, but that's okay. So, typically. So, what we're going to talk about tonight, just give you a little preview of what we're going to talk about tonight. Is a preview, actually, a preview of the upcoming Pats-Miami game. Yep. We're going to talk maybe a little bit about the NFL because the NFL actually starts tonight. If it hasn't already started, I think
as we speak, it is kicked off. Yeah,
it is. NFL. The NFL season is kicked off tonight with Tampa Bay.
Don't you mean Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay versus Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. So it should be a pretty good battle. I'm looking forward to seeing a quarterback that won the championship and a quarterback that's coming back from injury. So
there you go.
We'll just have to see. The Dak Prescott era continues, so we'll have to see about that. But we're really gonna talk about the Pats and the Miami Dolphins. But first, we have our sponsor. Our sponsor is Simon Organizing. Just remember, today's sponsor for the Sports Blitz is Simon Organizing. Feeling overwhelmed with a room, closet, or maybe a drawer, maybe somewhere you open an upper closet, you go, oh, way too much. So call on Simon Organizing because they will work with you to make that drawer or closet, any room that you need to be organized. And just a joy to spend time in. So just remember, Simon Organizing, creating a stress-free home. So
link in the description.
That's right. Link is going to be in the description, if I could speak correctly tonight.
Description.
So the first question I want to ask you, Robbie, is I know we're excited for football season. Football, I can't believe it's already here, which is really great.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday. 4:16 or whatever it is, 4:26.
4:25 kick, yeah.
Sometimes it's 4:26 depending when they actually kick off.
4:26 and 10 seconds.
4:26 and 10 seconds. That's right. I noticed it's like, okay, it's 4:25. What are you guys waiting for? You're still putting the ball on the tee. What's going on? Wanted to ask you. Number one, I know obviously we're excited about this, but we have an interesting matchup. And the matchup is Miami Dolphins versus the Patriots. We actually have two well, one's a rookie, one's not necessarily a rookie.
It's the
Didn't play
Battle
a
of
lot.
Alabama. It's the
Battle of Alabama
Alabama.
quarterback.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know your first impressions and your first thoughts of Tua versus Mac on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this matchup. I think it's more just for the fact that I'm very excited and intrigued to see the Mac Jones era officially begin in Foxborough. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk this offseason, about would Mac win out the starting job, and there was a lot of skepticism there, perhaps, and all of a sudden we are faced with the fact that yes, indeed, Mac Jones did win the starting quarterback job for the Patriots, and again, how fitting for him, at least, that he gets to go up against a former college teammate into in his first career NFL start coming up on Sunday. Like I said, I'm very excited to see Mac in action and to see, what the Mac Jones era is going to look like here in Foxborough, or here in New England, I should say. And it's a very there's just a lot of intrigue around it. I feel like there's a lot of intrigue around this matchup and around how this Patriots team is going to fare in 2021 after the very disappointing 2020 season that we had to endure last year. And when it comes to Tua, I mean, Tua is, a multifaceted quarterback. He can throw the ball pretty decently, but he's also more than capable of beating you on the ground as well, which is something now that we don't necessarily have as much of, because obviously with Cam was very similar to Tua in that regard, especially, I mean, obviously Cam couldn't throw for anything really, but Cam was definitely more than capable of beating you on the ground, as evidenced in several games last season. But I just feel like it's going to be sort of one of those matchups where you have predominantly passing quarterback in Mac versus a multi-threat quarterback in Tua, and so it's just going to be very, very interesting to see who wins out and who gets the better in this opening matchup. And I know we're going to get more into it here coming up, but there's other facets of both these teams that I'm intrigued to see as well. And like I said, I just very simply cannot wait for 425 to actually see, what to finally get a sense of what this Pats team is going to look like this season.
Yeah, I heard a rumor. I saw something on Bleacher Report that said that Cam Newton's found a rule in the rule book that says something about a ball bouncing on the ground, coming up, and a wide receiver catching it. What was one of those good rules that he thought about. I'm not sure if that's incorrect or correct. I'm assuming that that's an incomplete pass, but for what we saw last year, it seemed to me.
Really, what is a catch these days in the NFL?
Actually seemed to me.
Really
It actually
know
seemed to me.
It
actually seemed to me like he thought that was part of the game. And I hate to tell him, I think most of those passes were called like this. So I have a feeling that those were incomplete. Anyway, the Cam era is gone.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, Cam Newton era is gone. Now the Mac Jones era is here.
Yeah,
which is great. He's getting a lot of positive reinforcement from the players.
Yeah,
Matt, Jalen Mills and Matt Judon specifically are two guys that are really talking about really how we don't know how good Mac Jones is. We really haven't seen it. And again, it's to the eyes of the beholder to see what he can actually do. But it should be interesting because Tua and Mac are like buddies. They're friends. I mean, yeah. Tua won. Tua did really, really well in Alabama.
Yeah.
And then came out, and then obviously he got to Miami, and then Mac Jones came in and won a championship, and
And now he's in New England.
that's correct. So we got two really really good quarterbacks that we are going to see on Sunday. And again, just like you said, we're going to see who kind of wins out. You're actually you're spot on when it comes to Tua having kind of a multi-faceted kind of situation. Um, where do you think the divide is? And again, we talked about it just briefly. I just want to touch on this just a little bit. Mac Jones versus Tua. Where's the divide between them? In other words, is it the running? Is it this? Is it that? I just want to get an idea from you where you think, not who has the edge, but more or less who do you think is, what the differences are between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big difference, as you were just alluding to, is the mobile ability. I mean, I think
Right.
Tua has always been known to be a very mobile quarterback, and I know Tua. The one thing about Tua, I mean, he has had some injury issues that back from his Alabama days, that kind of hampered that a little bit. But I mean, at the end of the day,
I thought he came into the league injured.
yeah, no, you're exactly
Did he
right.
come into the league and he was already injured?
Yeah, no, he got. I
I
mean,
thought he had an injury.
his senior year at Alabama, he got hurt, and it kind of impacted him heading into his rookie season. I think, but I
Last year,
mean,
yeah.
it doesn't change the fact that the biggest difference between the two is sort of on the ground, so to speak, because like I said, Tua is just much more mobile, and has much more of the ability. That's why I said in that regard, there is a somewhat of a comparison to be made between him and Cam because they're both quarterbacks that could succeed and that could beat you on the ground. Now, obviously, again, in the air, there's a big difference there, as we were just talking about. But I think between Mac and Tua, the ground game is, there's a big discrepancy there. And I'm curious to see, what in terms of the air game, how much of that can Mac make up in the air game as opposed to what Tua can already do through the air. Because Tua is not a bad passer either. I mean, he's got a pretty strong arm. So I'm very curious to see, what Mac lacks in mobility, how he can make up for it through the air. Because I think that's going to be a big key to seeing, which quarterback ultimately has the upper hand among the two, whether it be Mac or Tua. Because like I said, Tua definitely has it on the ground. So I think, if Mac's got to kind of make up some of that difference through the air if he wants to sort of get up to the level of Tua in terms of having success and just being on a particular level as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Tua does. We'll have to see. At least in my aspect, I think the running game for Tua is something that is. I don't think it's concerning necessarily, but it's something that the Pats have to watch.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to him throwing, he's got guys to throw to. He's got Devontae Parker. He's got Mike Guecki. I hope I said that right. And he's got John Waddle. And he's got a fourth receiver who actually is actually hurt right now. Oh no, I'm sorry. Going through, yeah, I think he's hurt. But actually, I think it's a suspension. Actually, now that I think about it, it's suspension. So I mean, he's got some. Tua's got some obvious, people to, guys to throw to.
Right.
So what I kind of look at, and again, Mac Jones, it's like we totally took all the wide receivers that we had, except for maybe one or two of them, and said bye bye, and here we go. We have new we have a whole bunch of new wide receivers, including a couple tight ends. One of the best tight ends in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I mean,
yeah,
if you want to look at a difference between year to year, I mean, just look at our tight end position where it was last year and then compared to this year, where we, like you said, we literally had the best top two tight ends in the free agency class this year now, both on the same team here with the Patriots. So yeah, that for sure could make quite a big difference for sure.
absolutely. So I wanted to ask you about the Patriots defense. Do you think they got better this year?
Yeah, yeah, I think that they added some good pieces. I mean, you mentioned Judon and I'm gonna blank Mills, Jalen Mills. Although I know he's been kind of banged up a little bit this week. I think he's still gonna
Yeah.
play, but he's been on the injury report. So
Yeah, we had everybody. We had
um,
everybody at practice today. There were
yeah,
a couple of guys
limited, but
who were limited,
but
but
I
I
don't
think
think
they're going to
yeah.
play.
Yeah, so I mean, I think they definitely um, brought in some needed pieces on the defensive end. I'm actually very excited to see the defense this season because of sort of the upgrades they made. I'd love to see them maybe return to sort of that early 2019 defense, if you want to call it that, where literally they were just, nobody could get anything going against them, sort of early on, especially in the 2019 season, when they started out undefeated and then kind of sort of plateaued and fell apart in a sense as the season went along, especially late in it. But I think that the defense, like I said, is going to be a very key factor for how successful this team is this season, because if they can sort of get back to that sort of vintage Bill Belichick defensive success that they've had in past years, that can make a big difference, between sort of being right around 500, maybe sort of bumping them up to double digit wins and then some. Because obviously late in those key games, you're going to need the defense to come through. So I feel like I'm just very excited to watch the defense this year and see hopefully a big time improvement from last year to this year, or from this year to last year, I should say.
Right.
And it's gonna be, and that's another reason I'm really excited and intrigued about, them finally kicking off on Sundays to see what kind of defense is gonna show up and sort of what kind of tone they're gonna set for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bill went out and upgraded what was it, $200 million or so, 300 million, something like that. Crazy, crazy number, 100 million, 150 million. Judon and Mills. We also got back the not going to call. I was going to call them the COVID guys, but they're really not.
Yeah,
They didn't
true,
play last year.
true.
Dante Hightower, Andrews, I think was one of
Yep,
them, or
yep.
Andrews. Yeah. So we got our some really good players back. Dante Hightower's huge.
Oh yeah.
In the run defense. So getting those players back to play and then adding on with Judon and Mills and unfortunately, we don't have Gilmore, but we have J.C. Jackson, and everybody keeps hyping up J.C. Jackson. So I'm very excited to see what J.C. Jackson could do, because I'm going to tell you this much, and I'm going to ask you. I'm going to tell you kind of what my feeling are, and then I want to know what your feeling is.
Yeah.
Is that if J.C. Jackson does well in the first 6 games, I'm not sure if they bring Gilmore back.
Yeah, it's a good
I just,
question.
I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm just I would be very surprised if they did. But on the flip side of it, Gilmore is one of the top safeties in the league. So as far as I'm concerned, if you can keep him through for the rest of the year, you keep him for the rest of the year. And try to get something for him or give him a contract. I'm not sure if Bill's going to go there, but we'll see. But I wanted to know what your thoughts about not necessarily about the Gilmore situation, because we did talk about that in past episodes, but more on the J.C. Jackson kind of situation of him kind of taking that spot, and he did so well last year with a really crappy team. Did so well last year, and he's just going to improve. So I just want to get your idea and what your thoughts are on him possibly if J.C. Jackson does well. What happens to him?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there because I think J.C. Jackson is definitely more than an adequate sort of fill-in or replacement for Gilmore, whatever you want to call him. And I think that there's something to be said that if Jackson, really balls out, sort of as the saying goes, over the first 6 weeks, that I don't know if you're necessarily going to see Gilmore, come back and be reinserted back into that starting spot. They may kind of ride the high hand there, with Jackson, depending on how he's doing the first part of the season. Uh, Listen, I think that I think I mentioned this in the previous episode. Having Gilmore out is not giving me a whole lot of concern because of that sort of Jackson factor. I think Jackson is more than equipped to sort of step in and fill that void, and that on top of the improvements that were made to the defense, I think just give me a lot more confidence in the ability of this team and this defense to play well and to be successful even without Stephon Gilmore out there. And I think that um, I truly believe that with Jackson out there, there's not a whole lot of drop off there on the defensive front compared to having him or Gilmore in the lineup. So I'm intrigued. I hope that Jackson proves us to be right, that he's going to really come out and just play extremely well, and maybe even make it a conversation about what to do with Gilmore when he's able to come back. So I think it's going to be very intriguing to see. And like I said, I firmly believe that you could still be confident about this Patriots defense, heading into the season, even despite the fact that Stephon Gilmore will not be out there for at least the first 6 games.
Right. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you also about Dante Hightower, and of course we forgot we got back Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah.
From Miami.
From
actually.
Miami, yeah.
Yeah. So having these two back, these two, when they played together before, run defense, real tough. So I wanted to ask you about those two and having them back. Uh, I meant back meaning Dante was still on the team last year,
Right.
Play because of COVID. But having Van Noy come back and having him be real super excited about, hey, you know what? Glad to be back here. Let's kick some butt kind of situation. Wanted to ask you about them.
Very excited to have them both back. I was always a fan of Van Noy from his first go around here, and I was talking about that 2019 team, and he definitely was a big part of that early season defensive success that they had back in 2019. So hopefully they can sort of replicate that here in 2021. And yeah, I mean Hightower, hey, listen, he's the leader of that defense. I mean, he's the captain for a reason, and has always, really demonstrated that successful leadership, especially as he's sort of gone on in his career, so to speak. And yeah, I'm excited to have them both back. I think that they're going to make a big difference to this defense. At least I hope that they are. And it's good to know that you have sort of the full complement of talent going out there this year, as opposed to last year, where again you were without some of those guys, so you were not playing with sort of the full deck of cards, so to speak.
Right, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. I think he's pumped up. I think he's super pumped up to play his ex team, who didn't bring him back. But I also think that you know, we
Didn't
know
he
Cal.
sign a multi-year deal there too, and they kind of like
Yeah.
kicked him to the curb after this one season?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I,
That'd
I
be
don't know.
that'd definitely
Maybe
be
they just,
motivation for anybody.
yeah, that would definitely be motivation for me. I would know it would be motivation for you, and it's certainly motivation for him. He's actually doing the Dunkin' Donuts commercials with
I saw
Devin
that. Yeah,
McCourty. Did you see
yeah,
that? There's
I
two
saw
different
it.
ones that
Yeah.
are out. Actually, it's pretty funny. Actually,
Yep. No, I
they're actually
definitely
great
seen those.
commercials. So if you see them, try to see them or get them on YouTube because they're actually kind of call them cute. They're just fun. I
Yeah.
like them a lot. But I'm glad to have them both back on the field on our defense. These are
Yeah.
guys that know our defense very well. They're great with the run, and I'll tell you, Miami's not great with the run anyway. I mean, they do not have the running backs that we have. And they're not as deep in that area, but they're having a super hard time with the run game. So I'm not really worried about that.
And
As
our run
opposed to
defense
worried about
has usually been our strength as well.
yes,
So
definitely. So I wanted to ask you, excuse me, I wanted to ask you about Sony Michelle. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about the running backs,
true.
which by the way we are, wow, 3-4 deep with running backs, which is great. And just kind of wanted to ask you about what your thoughts are on the Sony Michelle trade to the Chargers and
You mean
what
the
do you
Ram?
think?
You mean the Rams?
Rams, Chargers, Rams. Yeah, I get it.
Both in
Yeah, it's the
LA.
Rams.
I mean, easy mistake. Both are in
I
LA.
know. I was probably thinking that and said the wrong thing. Who knows? I don't know. My brain is working in different ways today. What
Okay.
just wanted to ask you about what you thought of the Sony Michelle thing and what do you think about starting a rookie quarterback with a rookie running back starting. So wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, but isn't James White the running back?
He is a running back, but he's not starting. I don't
Who's starting a running back?
believe.
I'm honestly legitimately asking.
Are you genuinely asking?
I'm legitimately asking who's our starting running back.
I believe it's the rookie. I can't remember his last name. Um, terrible. I'm on the New England site too.
Oh, by the
Really
way,
bad.
quick. I know this is a little bit out of topic, but quick score update: the Bucks have struck first against Dallas. Tom
Nice.
Brady with his first touchdown pass of the new season. So Tampa currently 7-0 leaders over the Cowboys. So just want to throw that in there. But while you're looking it up, I will say this is that I was not at all disappointed that they traded Sony Michelle. I mean, listen, he's had some good moments here, but he has not been a very consistent back, I felt like, for us. And so I don't think that getting rid of him necessarily hurts the team at that position. It could be wrong, again, who knows? But at the same time, I believe that I did not have any sort of issue. I know Doug, we kind of talked about it, when it happened, sort of offline, via text like we usually do. But I personally did not have really any sort of issue with them getting rid of Sony Michelle to the LA Rams as it was.
Right. No, absolutely. Ramondre Stevenson
Yes, yep. I know I've heard that name now
really
that
did
you
a
mentioned in the
really super
preseason.
job
Yeah,
during preseason. He did a super job. Now it should be interesting to find out who the actual starter is. I had heard early on that Ramondre Stevenson, because he did so well, that he was the thought to be the starter. That may not be true, but we are very deep. We are exceptionally deep. We have Damian Harris, and we also
yeah.
have J.J. Taylor, and James White, of course. So, yeah, I'm not really sure who the starter is, but I had heard early on because Ramondre Stevenson did such a great job and was like, what is this guy? He had some really, really great runs
Yeah.
and did really strong guy. Just unbelievable during preseason. I, I saw some things that said that he may start, but I don't really know who the starter is. I don't think they've even brought up. And again, even on the website, even on the New England Patriots website, it says unofficial depth chart. So
Yeah.
it's totally unofficial right now until Saturday night, right before the game on Sunday. So or Sunday afternoon. Something like that. So we won't really know, but I just wanted to know your opinion on the depth of our running back situation. That the depth is incredible. Even shipping off Sony Michelle.
Yeah, and we were not shipping him off to Boston, by the way.
No, no. Kevin McHale's not walking through the door. Neither is Larry Bird or anybody
I
else.
think that might be our first Dropkick Murphys reference on the show, but it
Right.
felt like the perfect time to throw it in there. But anyway,
Being shipped off to California, man.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, I think that our running back depth, I mean, we have some guys that have the potential to do good things. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the running back position. Sorry, I was. Oh, by the way, 7-7 now between Dallas and Tampa Bay. I think that I'm just very intrigued to see the running game. I'll say that I'm very intrigued to see the running game because I mean, obviously, it wasn't really that big of a factor last year. I mean, yes, obviously, I think Cam Newton kind of made up the majority of our running game last year. It felt
Yeah,
like
because he
at
couldn't throw the
times.
ball.
Yeah, so but that's what I mean. Like it felt like Cam Newton was our running game at certain points during last season. So I like I said, I'm just very intrigued to see what the backs that we have on the roster this year, including Stevenson, the rookie, because they're going to be called on a lot more, obviously, because we don't have that mobility at quarterback like we did with Cam, because Mac is not a mobile quarterback. I mean, yeah, Mac, yeah, is not a mobile quarterback. I don't know what I was trying to say there for a second, but well, we got through it. But yeah,
Sure.
who knows?
I'm not really sure if he did. I mean,
Who knows,
said
man?
Mac is not a mobile quarterback, but you said it twice, so I'm kind of believing it, I guess.
I think
But that's
no,
okay.
I think I actually thought I said Cam the first time around, but so if I did
Oh,
say
right,
Mac,
right,
I
okay.
apologize.
Yeah, no, you didn't
I
say Cam.
doubted
You said Mac
myself.
twice.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Well, better that than what I thought I said. So there you go.
It's all good, man.
But yeah, Mac's not a mobile quarterback, so the running backs are going to be called on a lot more, obviously, in the running game, which makes sense because they are running backs. And so I don't know. I honestly don't know what to think about the running game this year until I actually see it in action. I think is what it comes down to. I have to actually see it in action before I sort of pass a judgment on it because it was just so not there last year that I don't really have high expectations of it to begin with. So
Right.
we shall see what kind of tone that sets. Again, that's another situation where we're going to see what kind of message is sent, what tone is set from that particular aspect of the game come Sunday.
Yeah, what I like is the depth. I like the depth a lot. I like the fact that we got J.J. Taylor. I like the fact that we have Damian Harris. I like the fact that we have, a third down specialist in White. So I like the depth of it. I don't think we've had this much depth at running back in a long time. And I think that I definitely like the depth part of it. So um, that's what I like because if somebody goes down or whatever, we obviously we got some backup, and so some of the teams only have two running backs and stuff like that. So I do like the depth of it. But
By the way, we've established. I'd like to establish a new sports blitz drinking game, and obviously, whatever you're drinking. We're not
Make sure you
necessarily
drink responsibly.
drink responsibly.
Make sure you're 21.
Yes, no, but hey, listen, I'm not particularly talking about a particular beverage here. You know, it could be soda, it could be water, but what I was going to say is, anytime Doug says the word depth, take a drink. Because I think you literally said it maybe 7 times in a 1 minute period, just that.
It's interesting how you're counting my words. It's
For
kind of interesting that way. I
one
don't
particular
understand why
word.
you're counting how many times I say things.
I just
Um,
love the fact that you didn't react at all to me bringing back the chat function of our episode recordings here.
that's because I can't even see it because I don't have it up. So
Uh,
I know. So that's probably why. But yeah, oh yeah, you did. Oh, okay.
By the
So
way, for
I
those of you
got
who
you.
don't know what we're talking about, are like, what the heck is going on here? We have at times in the past, and we kind of went away from it for a while. We have this thing where Doug and I would type messages into the chat function on our recordings here, and would then repeat back what each other says. Counting word by yes, exactly. So like I said, I typed in the word depth, and then Doug just typed in counting word by. You know it. So that's if you hear us say random words, that's probably why we're doing it. We haven't done it in a while, but we might have to bring that back a little bit as we go along here. So
Yeah, we'll definitely check it out. But that's one of the things we started with a long time ago. So what I wanted to do, what I wanted to do now I wanted to do one last thing. I wanted to predict the game. Wanted to get an idea of what you
yeah.
thought, score, and who wins. So, and again, this is just a running record, and again, we haven't seen them, so this is kind of
Yeah,
really
this
outlandish.
is
Kind of, we don't know who's starting at running back, and we don't know, we only know who's starting at quarterback. We don't know anything else. So, this is kind of a shot in the dark, for you, Robbie, and for me.
oh man, this is a tough one. I feel like, I mean, listen, you know, you guys who are watching or listening to this episode know that, you know, both Doug and I are from New England. We're Patriots fans, and I think there's a lot of times where we go exactly. Yep, Doug's got the rocking the hat as always and the shirt. I'm not. I did not bring out my Pats apparel for tonight, and
Oh,
I know I'm so ashamed.
terrible!
I'm gonna bury my
Shame
head in
yourself,
just.
Robbie.
I'm gonna bury my head in shame for the rest of the episode. But so there's no secret who we want to win and who obviously we're pulling for every game
Oh,
during the
I'm winning for
season.
Miami, man.
Regardless,
No.
no, right? Yeah. Um, I don't really know I honestly don't know if I'm using my head. I honestly don't know which way to go because there's so many question marks, especially on the Patriots side of things heading into the season. So many things that could, you know, sort of make the difference one way or the other. So I will say, because you're kind of forcing me here to give a pick, I will say uh, Patriots 20, Dolphins 17. I think the young kicker Quinn Norden. I think I said that
Norden, you
correctly.
got
Okay,
it.
good.
I was going to ask you about him too, but it's a kicker, so I'm not
Who by
asking.
the way beat out Nick Folk for the starting job there. Another rookie or young guy winning out a starting job for this team. I think he kicks a late game field goal. I think the Pats end up winning by 3, 20-17 to kick off the Mac Jones era with a victory. So that's what I'm going with. Doug, what about you? What do you think?
Well, you obviously didn't see Quinn Norden during the preseason.
Hey, preseason. Hey,
No,
listen, I don't pay attention to preseason, man. You know,
it's all good. It's all good. Obviously, Bill saw something. I'm not exactly sure what, but he definitely saw something that was better during that. Maybe it was in practice and not in games. No, he was okay. It was, I mean, talking about, Adam Vinatieri or anything here, but yeah. Anyway, he's a rookie.
I don't
So
think
I'm gonna
anybody
go.
can
I'm gonna
compare
go with.
to Terry, but that's all right.
I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Pats 24, Miami 13.
Okay.
That's what I'm gonna go with. I just think that the Patriots. I mean, the Miami's not gonna have a run game at all.
Right.
I just think the Patriots defense is really going to win out here. I really do. I think that I think we don't realize what kind of defense we have. I think it's going to be a little bit to get into though. It may be that you are right on and it's a closer game, but that's what my score is. I wrote down the scores.
I just pulled that score on my rear end about 5 seconds ago. So who the hell knows which way it's gonna go?
And nobody knows except for them, and they don't even know yet. So I just think it's going to be, it's going to start off rough because it's just the way it is when you have your first game. It's kind of rough,
Yeah.
but that's all good.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do, right, in our next segment, which is going to be right now, we're talking about great Patriots players. We kind of mentioned Adam Vinatieri, so we mentioned some mentioned about some players that may be legendary down the road. We never. Maybe Quinn Norton will be, an Adam Vinatieri likeness down the road. Again, he's a rookie, so we never know. So what I decided to do is I decided to put together an all Pats team, all-time team. Yeah, thanks. I thought it was 340. Never mind. So I put together an all Pats all-time team. And it's pretty cool just to kind of go back and go, oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through. I was going to ask you first, Robbie, but I think I wrote like a huge list down. I have the.
Can I just put it on record now that my picks are all the same as Doug's picks? No, I'm just kidding.
That's fine. You may have some different picks, but if you don't, that's okay too. I'm gonna, I'm just gonna kind of throw them out there, and the reason I am is because I only put down when we first were deciding on programming here, we were kind of figuring out.
And by the way,
do we just do like?
By the way, a little bit behind the scenes here. I think we decided on this programming about less than 12 hours ago. So,
Bobby, you don't have to tell them these kinds of things. My goodness, these are all things that you need to keep. You need to keep the production
about
quiet.
Everything. We tell them about all the other aspects of our production.
We don't tell them everything. Oh my goodness, Robbie, you're telling too much. TMI on that. Anyway, doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying, yes, maybe we come up with stuff 12 hours before.
I will say this. I think we can both safely assume that we both have the same quarterback prediction.
Maybe. So what I did was I did a first string and a second string sometimes, maybe even a third string. And when it came to like running backs, there were a few more. When it came to wide receivers, there was not many, but several, not just a first and a second. So I'm going to go through, and again, we had decided to go through like quarterback and kicker and tight end and running back and wide receiver, and then we didn't do any more. But I actually did a full list here, so I want everybody to hear what my list is, and then we'll go through Robbie's to see if it matches. Obviously,
my list. Yeah,
your list that's in your head, or maybe the list you might want to go get it. I think it's in your bed. So I think we'll go with the coach. Let's see, who should Barry. Okay, I think we'll go with Bill Belichick.
I think that's a very safe bet to make. Yes,
okay, so at QB, at quarterback, I have obviously TB12 as the first string quarterback.
Yeah. I think
I have
so.
I have Drew Bledsoe as the backup,
Okay.
and I have a third string guy that I grew up watching, and I don't like to say that because that sometimes it dates me slightly.
I think I should know the name you're gonna say, which is kind of scary.
Steve Grogan.
Yep, that was my
Steve Grogan is
that
my
was
third
my
string quarterback.
thought. Yep.
So at kicker, I have Adam Vinatieri, of course. I mean, please.
Yeah.
And I have a guy that I didn't even watch, but I actually saw him on video, and it makes sense why they put this. Gino Cappelletti.
Oh yes,
Yes,
former Patriot radio voice.
that's correct.
Gino Cappelletti. Yes.
That's correct. I put Ryan Allen as a punter because there's really no other punters I really know.
No.
So
Wait,
I put him.
you didn't like Zoltan Mesko?
No. So what I did, they don't make any difference.
What?
They don't make any difference. Doesn't matter. I put Ryan Allen because I thought he was the best on the list.
No, I know.
So at tight
agree.
end, I have two: Rob Gronkowski, obviously, and Ben Coates as my two. Running back, I have Curtis Martin,
Yeah.
Kevin Falk,
Okay.
and Sam the Bam Cunningham, who I watched time ago. We'll talk about him a little bit later.
Oh, okay. Never mind that.
Yeah, we'll talk about him a little bit later.
Never mind.
At fullback, I have Jim Nance, who is now a. Go ahead, Robbie. Tell us who Jim Nance is.
I was about to say. I'm assuming that's the same Jim Nance is now like this legendary CBS football and golf announcer and other sports. I feel like throughout the years.
Yes. So at wide receiver, we have Troy Brown, Stanley Morgan from the 70s and 80s. By the way, I do want to tell you that Gino Cappelletti played two positions. One, he was a kicker, and he was also a wide receiver. Randy Moss. Dion Branch is on my list. Julian Edelman. Wes Welker. I'm going to add one. Because I think this person deserves to be on this list. Is David Pack.
R.I.P.
Yep. At left tackle, Matt Light and Leon Gray. Leon Gray was in the 70s. Huge left tackle. Left guard, I have John Hanna from the 70s and Logan Makins. And those guys are pretty close together, but I still think that John Hanna's a Hall of Famer. But John Hanna right now is probably my first string. At center, I have David Andrews, and I don't really know who John Morris is. So I'm going to have David Andrews be there first. Right guard is Shaq Mason. Dan Connolly, who played unbelievably in the 2010 game against the Packers. And right tackle, Bruce Armstrong. Hello? So who's this? Oh, it's Bill Belichick.
Our fan line is ringing. There we go.
Fan line is ringing. So Bruce Armstrong was actually started with the Bills and actually came to us for a little while. Right tackle. Defensive lineman, Ty Warren. Vince Wilfork, number one. Ty Warren, Richard Seymour, and a guy named Jim Lee Hurt. No idea. I would take the Ty Warren, Vince Wilfork, and Richard Seymour. Outside linebacker, Andre Tippett. 70s and 80s. Mike Vrabel. Willie McGinnis. And Rob Ninkovich. Middle linebacker would be Teddy Bruschi. Steve Nelson for the 70s. Dante Hightower. Gerard Mayo. And Nick Bontecante. Also from before my time. LCB, Ty Law, and Raymond Claiborne. Cool. RCB, Mike Haynes and Stephon Gilmore. Free safety, Devin McCourty, Rodney Harrison, Lawyer Malloy, and Patrick Chung. Punt return, I even did punt return. Can you imagine this? Punt return, I would do Troy Brown and Julian Edelman. And kick return, I would do Kevin Falk. That's my list, man. That's my all-time list. And again, 70s, 80s, probably late 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way up, all the way down.
Yeah, that's a really good list. I mean, I think you really covered it in depth there. I think the only three additions I would make on top of everything you said that I would make would be kicker. I would, again, this is my personal opinion. I would put Gostowski on there somewhere on that list as well. And then
Yeah.
wide receiver. The only other name I would add in there, and this is kind of a borderline one, I admit that, is Terry Glenn. And then on the cornerback side of things, if you're going to put Gilmore in there, I think you should also. I think Malcolm Butler also. If we're going to put Gilmore on there, Malcolm Butler should also be on there as well. But other than that, I mean, I think I'm in, complete agreement / piggybacking off of your list there. I think that was a very well done list. I give you complete kudos for it. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, and again, it was just a matter of kind of going through. And again, I watched some of the late 70s, mostly early 80s through the 80s, and then obviously 90s and up till today. But it's one of those things where it's purely what you think it should be. So yeah,
Oh,
so I think that's
hold on. Sorry, breaking news here because since we just mentioned them both in that last segment, I have to point this in there. Quick score update from Tampa: Bucks 14, Cowboys 7, and the last touchdown pass was from good old friend Tom Brady to good old friend Rob Gronkowski. So Bucks currently back on top, 14-7 over the Cowboys.
Thank you for that breaking news.
Well,
one of these moments we're going to talk about how we shouldn't be talking about. I know it's always, but one of these moments we shouldn't talk about. Boston should just stop talking about Tom Brady's gone, and we're still. But that's fine. It's all good. If you want to hear, it's still. Oh, that's kind of crazy. But we are actually at the point where we are going to do our final thoughts for the evening.
Yeah.
And so, Robbie, I will throw it over to you for your final thoughts for this episode of the Sports Blitz.
Final thoughts, yes. I guess my final thought would be that I am just very excited that football season is back and in full swing. Obviously, we have the Patriots kicking off their season this coming Sunday, against the Dolphins, as we were just talking about, which I am extremely excited about. And then on the flip side, on the college side of things, college football really kicked off this past weekend. For those of you who know me, know that I'm a big Boston College fan, and they opened up in style with a nice 51-0 win over Colgate.
When are we going, Robbie?
Saturday. What?
I'm just kidding. I just said, when are we going?
No, they opened up with a nice victory over Colgate, 51-0. But I mean, I think the bigger story was the fact that they're actually.
Did they have to brush their teeth before they go on the field?
Yes, they used Crest
okay.
actually. They used Crest actually to sort of psych the other team out. So
that's not cool.
But I think that the more exciting thing was that fans were back in the stands for BC football. It was very cool to see the fans, get there, and the student section was filled to capacity, and just everybody very excited to be back and rooting the Eagles on to victory. And they're, like I said, off to a good start, and they have UMass this coming weekend. Which how UMass is still a Division 1A football program, I still don't understand. But I think BC should beat them handily, even though the game is down or is out at Amherst this time around. But I think, like I said, BC is gonna take it home, and yeah, just very excited for football to be back, and can't wait for 4:25 Sunday when the Pats kick off against the Dolphins. Should be a very exciting one, and yeah, it's like I said, just good to have football back at all fronts. NFL, college, even high school football kicking off this week as well, which we didn't have last fall. The one form of football we did have last fall was high school football. So glad to see that returning at a normal time this year. Very excited to see. So that is my final thought for this evening's episode. So Doug, let me toss it on over to you now. And what is your final thought for episode number 94?
Yeah, I actually have. I always have at least two. So I have. I have two. My first one is the Patriots actually lost two, as far as I'm concerned, two legends. Unfortunately, this past week, one was David Patton, who unfortunately passed away in a motorcycle accident. And we had yesterday Sam the Bam Cunningham, who we mentioned on that list. Sam the Bam, who was about 5'5" or 5'4". But you got to YouTube this guy. You got to YouTube David Patton. You got to YouTube both of these. These guys were so incredible, and so helpful to the teams that they were on. The Patriots teams of those years that they were on. It's just sad, and again, us at the Sports Plus send our condolences out and our thoughts and prayers out to the Cunningham and Patton family. And I know that kind of a somber time a little bit over there at Gillette, but I think they're gonna take it on. And again, I'm very, we're just in that realm of making sure that they know that they were important, and just you got to YouTube them because they're just incredible. And again, I am also looking forward to this football season. Looking forward to seeing the Pats on Sunday, seeing what they can actually be, because it's been all this talk for months and months about Mac versus Cam and Gilmore and Bill Belichick and the stuff that he just said recently about the vaccines and all this kind of stuff, all wrapped up into nothing. Sunday's the day. Sunday's the day we park ourselves in front of the TV and see what it's really going to be all about. And again, it's only game number one, so don't get all crazy about it. But it should be interesting to see, because Bill put this whole team together, millions and millions of dollars of players together, to see how they play together, how they react. There's a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces, so it should be really great to see, and look forward to it. Also looking forward to the next several episodes of the Sports Blitz, and I got some stuff that I kind of am thinking about in the wings. If you have any, please comment. First of all, if you see our show for the first time, please subscribe and hit the bell. And also, please, give us a comment, whether it's bad, whether it's good. We don't care. If it's bad, we make our show better.
We want to hear from you. Absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear from you. We want to hear your comments about how we're doing.
If you think Doug talks too much, you can definitely comment that.
If you think, I'm not even going to go there. If you think Robbie should change his venue from his cave room to somewhere else, then you can ask it.
Oh
tell
yeah,
them to do
look,
that too.
look who's talking. I think you that same couch has been in your background for every single episode.
Dude, I'm
We've
in my
done.
living room, not in my bedroom. So
I,
anyway, so what it comes down to is just leave us a comment, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear from you. Obviously, you want to hear about, we want a topic that you want us to discuss. We can certainly do that. I'm starting to think about some guests that we can have on in the next few episodes to talk about different topics. So we're very excited to continue this and to keep it going.
absolutely.
So again, subscribe and hit the bell. I'm Doug. That's Robbie. Actually, you're over there. You're over there. Or you're over there. Actually, when it comes down to the video, you could be. Who knows when it comes out to be? And we are on Facebook. We're on YouTube. Where else are we on? Robbie,
Twitter, SoundCloud. Yeah.
SoundCloud. Everybody
all
ask
over.
us in the comments, what's SoundCloud? Because I don't even know what it is, but that's all right. I'm just kidding. I just look at Robbie's face. I love it. Anyway, we're going to end on that face. That's perfect. I'm Doug. That's Robbie. This is the Sports Blitz. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.